pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This is the portion of the meeting that we set aside for anybody that's got something that's not on the agenda to bring it up. We can't act on it, but we'll definitely listen and take it under advisement. So this time, has anybody got anything they want to talk about? All right, moving right along then. Westlake Road speed study request.
That was something that I've had two city officials ask me about, and actually I told them they might want to be here to represent it. Apparently the council in the last month have had some discussions about Westlake from Casey's out to the interstate, and then it's ours from the interstate to South Lake. I reckon that's South Lake. And they tell me their speed limit in town is 30 miles an hour, and ours is 55, and when people come across the interstate, they're not slowing down to the 30-mile range. And they're wanting us to consider lowering our speed limit. And I've explained to that, and Kevin, I'm glad you're here, that I'm not sure it's just as simple as putting a sign up and changing things. If we were to lower the speed limit, I think Zach would want a speed study. That's what he wanted in the past. And even if we do this, it would still be an ordinance only for county, which the city could enforce, but state police could not, because they can't enforce local ordinances. So it would be a little bit confusing, I think, for everybody, but I told them we could put it on the agenda and discuss it and go from there.
So this is from...
I thought Zach would be here, I'm sorry.
He's on his way. He's
Good.
got stuck in that traffic. That's why I got the phone call. I got a minute ago.
Okay.
He's on his way, but, and we can kind of table this till the end of the meeting
I
or
think
farther
it's a
down
good
until
idea.
he's here, but,
Good idea.
and let's do that so that he can have some input, and also about the sign there on Slab and Cutshall. So let's just move to the next thing on the agenda, and we'll come back to that, because I'd like to have his input on that, but
Yeah.
but you are talking from South Lake Road to Westlake Road.
That's
There
correct.
at the-
To the interstate, yes.
Well, okay, yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Where Bryce Baker used to live.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Because there's another spot on South Lake Road. There's a part that's the city, then it turns to county. You know, again,
Yeah.
same kind of situation.
I also
so-
discussed a little bit about the bridge, whose responsibilities were there, but that's
Yeah,
a
let's
different
just
topic.
wait till he
Yeah.
gets in here and then
Yeah.
we'll discuss
Yeah.
this. So.
I believe we could actually put it, if we wanted to, we could put up a slow sign without any kind of speed study at all.
I'm sure we
Would cost
could,
us
we
it.
could put up a
We
speed,
could put up a,
but we'll get on here in a little bit.
Let's move to EMS. So, come on up.
He got a smile on his
Never
face.
this early, that's
Got a
awesome.
big smile, that's a good thing.
It's not over
I
yet.
hope I'm smiling in a minute, yeah.
You won't be.
Okay.
Go ahead and tell the news.
Which one? The one I called you about?
Yeah.
We wrecked a truck today. Well, we didn't. A truck was in an accident. We are vehicle number 2 in the crash report. It was not our fault. However, there is damage to a truck. Fortunately, I spent the last hour trying to, well, get out most of the damage of the truck. All of the stuff that was on the box has come off, so there's no structural damage to the box. However, the mirror is destroyed, and those mirrors are $1,500.
Happy for the other insurance company.
So it's usable though?
No.
Once you can't
Mirror's
use it?
gone.
No, I mean the vehicle, if you get a mirror back on it.
If we get a mirror, so
Yeah.
my plan is I'm ordering the mirror because I don't want to be down a truck over a mirror. And if we have to chase an insurance company later, we will. But I don't want to be down 6 to 8 weeks on a truck because of a mirror.
So, did we talk to our insurance people?
No, that's why I was gonna see what you want me to
Get
do
a hold
on
of
that.
Richie
In the morning I can.
and ask him and tell him we need this up and going and see what he tells you to do about getting a mirror put on it. I guess I'm gonna ask a stupid question.
Yep.
Is one of the older trucks, will the mirror,
No.
so it's
This
not
was
something we
the-
can take a mirror off something else?
This is the only truck chassis we've got. All the other ones are van chassis, so it's got the bigger two-stage. And the reason that the mirror's so expensive is because the turn signal is in the mirror, the lighting for the ground is in the mirror. The mirror's got the defroster in it, so it's not like it's just, and it's a power mirror, so. Yeah.
I get it.
So, but as far as the truck itself, there's no damage to the truck, so I'm happy about that.
So it's mirror-to-mirror contact?
For the most part, the vehicle had, for some reason, it was like a plumber's truck. You know, it's just got the small box on the back, but his mirrors were like 28 inches wide. I don't know if he's trying to see his own license plate or what, but it's a very large.
Non-injury.
No, no injuries.
That's the big one. You have to
but-
go call an ambulance to,
Yeah, work on our own. The Ford, I was directly behind it. We were on a run. We were leaving the run. And my vehicle got hit with glass. And obviously I stopped. Truck in front of me stopped. I got on the radio to let dispatch know. And then while I was on the radio, my crew got out of the truck. That guy kept going until I turned the lights on my vehicle, and then he stopped. Fortunately, we were half a mile from where the residence we just left, so PD was fairly close.
SPD. Scottsburg.
County.
Okay.
But we were not at fault.
So we're $1,500 out on a mirror. So I
Yes.
guess my question would be, is, you know, like everything else, mirror gonna be ordered and take 6 weeks to get?
Mirror will be here tomorrow morning at 8:30.
Okay. Just get with,
Randy, or Richie.
Richie.
Okay.
Just tell him what's going on
And
and tell
that'll
him that
be,
we need to have it going and not be down. So that's why we did it, so their insurance can reimburse us.
So I just figured if nothing else, we could order it, give him the information. The officer that did the crash report said she'll be done with it this evening, so that should all be squared away. So
you've got with her on what funds and all that kind of stuff.
it'll just be our vehicle maintenance fund is the only thing I can take it out of.
Okay.
But then I hope I can get it reimbursed back,
You can get that insurance check, it'll go back into,
that line item. Okay.
All right, what else you got?
So that's the good news. No, just kidding.
That's the good news.
May, we finished with 115. I've got about 5,000 still pending, so we should end up about 120. So we're still doing good on that. Training brought in another couple thousand, so we're just shy of 20,000 for the training. Paramedic will be starting at the beginning of next month, so we're in the process of doing starting our interviews next week for the paramedic class. And most of them have already done their self-study stuff and their entry exams, so we'll be doing all that starting next week. So we should see that training income line jump quite a bit over the next couple months, just because of the deposits and whatnot. We did 176 911 or home-based runs, 85 transfers out of Scott Memorial, 42 transfers out of any of the extended nursing facilities, and 26 motor vehicle accidents in May. Obviously, with today being June 1st, we haven't received a penny for June, so that's where we're at on that. And then our run volume was 391 for the month. So if you guys have any questions on that, I can answer that for you. For the year so far, we're just shy of 700,000, which is about 60,000 ahead of where we were at the end of June last year. So
Talking money.
so we're doing good on that. I think we ended June with 642 last year. So as far as that's concerned, I'm happy about that. All right, where are we at? Safe Haven baby box. That is installed and mounted. Mr. Brody came out and installed that last week. The only hang up we've got right now is I had to get a hold of, does ADS sound correct? Security company?
ADT.
ADT,
No?
So yes.
ADS.
Okay, Andrew got me connected with them. We have to have something that connects our building to dispatch that's not human. So we had to order a system that there's a photo sensor in the box, connects to the photo sensor, that connects to alarm and a light in our building, that also has an automatic dialer on it, so it'll actually call dispatch in the event that one of us isn't there. It'll call dispatch, it'll be an automatic recording that tells the dispatch, you know, baby box has been activated or whatever it's gonna say, and then that way they know to tone us back out to go there. The quote we got for that was like 2,300. We got other quotes, but no one else would touch it. They're like, I don't want this responsibility, so it was one of those things that we just pulled the trigger on.
Is that
because
what
it's-
the other box, people have boxes that?
Yeah, they have some type of thing.
Similar
The
system.
one people we talked to, they don't have something like that, but their dispatch is in their building, so they don't really need it. Just it activates and lets them know. Where we don't have that, we had to kind of,
Have to have a caller.
yeah. So we've got that dialer there. It's ordered. I actually just got a text from Andrew that says, it's been submitted, but it could be 2 to 3 weeks before they get the parts in that they need. But that's the only thing we're waiting on there. If you look under your safe haven baby box, what's highlighted in yellow, if you guys wouldn't mind reading that.
I do.
I don't want to advertise that because I'd like it to be a surprise if it's okay with you.
Yeah.
That's something that Devonna had come up with, and I think it's a great idea.
Good idea.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay. I just didn't want to do anything without your guys' permission. Okay. Also, we'd like to have an open house after that's installed, and then, you know, we've done a lot to our building and all of that stuff, just if that's okay with you. I'll get with you further
We
down
haven't
the
got a
line,
date?
closer to date, just as a date.
Don't have a date yet?
No, I don't want to set a date and that not be ready to go.
Okay.
Well, you have to get approval from the company with the baby box too, don't you?
So, can you come up here a second? She's been dealing with all
Because they have
that.
to come down certified, don't they?
Yes, so she'll fill you in on that. She's been strong-heading this whole
Do you
baby
have a
box.
name?
Devonna has been, heading this whole baby box thing, so she can fill you in on that.
There's a lady,
Don't look at me.
Mary Beth Boone.
Yes.
Sounds right.
I
From
have-
Madison?
Out of Madison,
Okay.
yes. She is really big with the baby box stuff. So she has been helping me, and she will get us in contact with everybody that we need. She's been able to get us information for the alarm system and everything, so she's been a huge help.
And I believe she's doing all of the, like, press release stuff for
Yes.
us as well. She's
Yes,
writing it.
she's-
She's gonna have us approve it, but she's kind of,
Yeah.
It has to be certified, is where I guess I'm getting at.
they come and
Once it's
validate
all
the
set-
Yeah,
functionality of
so
it.
I have been keeping her updated, and she's been keeping the people above her updated. And so once we have everything installed, then she's gonna have them come down.
Okay. 'Cause I figured there has to be some sort of cert on it, so.
Yeah, so
And then that's
once,
probably a yearly cert or something after that?
sure is.
Yeah, thought so. So, yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay. Stryker. It is in fact a
Is
credit.
that a company or Stryker?
Yeah. You guys should be very familiar with Stryker.
Yes.
Did that get paid, by the way? Thank you. That is in fact a credit. You asked me to compile a list,
30 grand, was it?
$30,562.58, I believe.
I think you understand that.
So I've compiled a list. If you guys will, I would like to have that stuff. Again, a lot of it is stuff that I'm not gonna use right now. It's cables,
Supplies.
it's rainbow cables. I've got end title stuff that we use daily. I've got,
This the same thing we went over in redevelopment?
no,
Okay.
we went over it last meeting here. I had like a short list, but I
Yeah.
didn't spend all of it. That's like $3,000 short. But, starting today, Stryker now charges a shipping and freight.
Let me see that.
That's just
I'll get it to you,
disclaimer.
so.
Okay.
They started shipping, so I wanted to, for that amount of stuff, I wanted to leave a little bit of variance in there for shipping.
I
'Cause I
wouldn't know
don't,
what any of that is anymore.
I'll be more than glad to go through the whole list, but most of it's like, 4-lead cables, rainbow cables, which we use for pulse ox and CO2 monitoring and CO monitoring and stuff like that. Electrodes, which we use for the EKGs, end title, which we use for measuring things.
Thank you.
I think there's like monitor trays on there for on the stretchers. Like there's no The only big ticket items were the AEDs that we had previously talked about. Everything else that is the only
They got a
stuff.
discount then since we test them once.
That's the same ones, but, that's the only, equipment, if you will, that's on there. Everything else is,
Supplies.
and I'll look at that real quick if you do sign it, just to verify. I don't wanna misspeak.
So I guess to clarify, we have a $30,000 and some odd cents credit with Stryker that I'm not saying we use or lose,
Eventually.
but if it's anything like a lot of credits are anymore, after the longer you wait, they almost decrease in value, but I'd be for whatever you think your needs are there, as long as it's not something that's
So I'll just tell you, there
something
is
that's gonna,
blood pressure hoses, trunk cables for 4-lead, paracordial cables, lithium batteries for our monitors, RC cables for our pulse ox, rainbow cables for our pulse ox, pediatric rainbow cables, electrodes, end-tidal monitoring, nasal and oral, Lucas straps, which they're just the straps that for the Lucases we already use. There is the 4 AEDs on there. There is infant defib pads, adult defib pads, platforms for the stretchers, head storage just as replacements for our stretchers, extra seat belts, and extra pocket pouches. So that's what's on
If
there.
you need.
you know what you need.
But,
I know what some of that Latin is, but
so
Seatbelt straps.
seatbelt straps, got that.
if
Hard
you-
case covers, I know that.
if you give me the approval, then I'll do it. If
So
not,
I'll entertain a motion to give them approval to spend the credit with Stryker.
Motion.
John makes the motion. Second. Randy seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous.
you just heard
And
me,
just,
Hancock.
and then the conversation, something I like to let people know, that's not additional, that's a refund you've got back from them, so.
That is not coming
Money,
out of
yeah,
my
it's-
budget or
It's
anything.
nothing,
need-
sometimes people
Just
think
a,
we're just spending
just
money.
a signature on the bottom somewhere there, for them, so. I've put a catch-all in place that doesn't allow me to order for them without some sort of acknowledgement.
That's exactly right.
Okay. Our vehicles, I got mine back yesterday. Kevin, I talked to him, should have his tomorrow. The black truck should be done, and then the swap is over. They're still working on the Colorado that we got from them, because they couldn't work on the Colorado till mine was done, and we had the equipment off the black truck, because we're repurposing a lot of equipment from the black truck onto it. So that one's still working. We still do have 2 vehicles up and running right now, the old Durango and the new one. But the only thing we're waiting on is for them to put a couple amber lights in the front for them, to rewire the switch box for them, because they don't need siren and stuff in that. And then he should hopefully tomorrow have his black truck. And then we'll be done as far as the whole swap is concerned. So yeah, the only thing we're waiting on is the completion of the Colorado from Watson Signs, and then the lighting from Light It Up. So that's one thing that we're waiting on. I have a military leave request here. I don't want to misspeak, so
Can we just review it like an FMLA?
Anonymous.
I have the original one here if you want it, unless you want.
We might stick it in there.
This one's wet anyway, I think.
If you want to sign it. it's good.
Actually,
We just stick it, and when it passes back down the road. After you sign it. And Addie has not gotten back with him.
I'll,
on that question about the-
entertain a motion to accept the request to leave.
Motion.
Sean made a motion, Randy seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous, so I'll go ahead and sign.
I guess my question to you guys then is, and you as well, can I hire someone in a full-time capacity with the
Part-time.
stipulation of term?
Show that to him so he knows what we're talking about.
Because I can't fill a year long with part-time people, I can't.
It's a year military leave of a full-time person.
Oh, that's the request.
Yes.
So my question is, can I hire someone as like a seasonal or a full-time, part-time, or can I just,
Cause after.
I cannot for a year work around part-time people.
Does it cost us?
Military-wise?
It's an ACA, because after they work so many consistent hours, it's a benefit question. This is,
Is the person involved here gonna continue their
After,
insurance benefits?
yes. They don't have insurance through us.
So they don't have insurance, so we're not worrying about family insurance or anything else, so she,
Yeah.
is,
But it's
they're gonna
good.
be gone, and it's no cost to the county for them to be gone, they're not drawing anything from us.
Besides perf.
I think the concern is we work somebody full-time till he comes back.
then we.
It would be with the
offer them.
stipulation that
Well, I
there's a
mean,
time frame on it.
Yeah, and I don't know, that's what I think the concern right now
You
is.
can do it, I mean, it is legal to do a term of years on a contract.
It would be a contract worker, wouldn't be a county employee, is that right?
Yeah. Do you mean you can't use it part-time?
There's no way, I don't have the staffing for a year to work. If that was an EMT, that would be fine. This is a paramedic and I don't have the pool to balance that workload for a year.
I can ask a question, do you have a person that wants to take this position for a year?
Yes.
And they know the stipulation is in a year when this person comes back, they're not gonna be employed possibly.
They'll go back to part-time.
I don't see any reason necessarily that would be a problem.
If they're part-time now, so they would go to full-time, and then when he comes back, they
just
go
move
back
it
to
an
part-time.
already established job description and category with.
But then they would be eligible for insurance benefits during that year, because they'd be
be
working
full
This
overtime,
person doesn't.
the replacement person.
But I'm budgeted for the insurance because I have to budget that
Yes.
everyone
So
takes it.
he's got it covered, I think.
To me, it's not a money issue, it's an issue whether when his year's up, whether he's gonna say, no, I wanna stay or not.
Well, but he's gonna
He
go
doesn't-
back.
He wants to come
part-time.
back.
I know, I'm just,
He
that's,
doesn't have a right to say that.
okay, once you're on full-time, as long as you sign a piece of paper saying I'll quit in a year, or go
He
back,
doesn't have to sign anything. I mean.
I can get 6 months through and say, never mind, right? Well,
So
Okay.
again, it's.
that's all I want, I want your approval.
This is a right to work state, can be terminated at any time for any reason or no reason.
But you're saying there's an
Okay.
agreement
Except
with
for
you
some
and him, or,
specific-
like we've talked, yes. The conversation that person and I have had is I'm deploying for up to a year.
no, I'm talking about the other person. The person that wants to fill in
Correct.
part-time to full-time. Have
Correct.
you had that conversation with that person?
Yes.
And they understand that when that person comes back, they're gonna
Yes.
step back
They
down.
go back down to the
part-time.
role they're already in. The problem with using part-time for this is the people that work for me part-time work part-time at 2 or 3 other places or work full-time somewhere else.
Yeah.
So continually balancing a rotating schedule with those people is not gonna work. So that was my
I
question.
get that.
Our attorney's for it, that means I'm for it.
I don't see any issue with moving.
I don't even know we need to vote on it, do we?
part-time
Just
employee
let
to
him do it.
full-time
It's just,
position
I think it's just let him do it.
For
Yeah.
a temporary agreement.
Okay.
If it falls apart, it'd be on him.
You told us.
Okay.
I think we're good with that.
All right.
Randy, you good?
All right, and then the only other thing that I've got is just to let you guys know, I did go to redevelopment. They did, vote to redisperse the money back to us. The Stryker,
Appropriated the 195.
yeah, 195 was reappropriated back to us, the 154, we'll call it,
Was that-
Stryker has been paid for the year, so that's good. And then a couple other pieces of equipment that they approved have been bought and or claims submitted. We're just waiting on the vehicles to get done for the lighting, waiting on some clarification on the signage, but, other than that, I just wanna let you guys know
Okay.
on that. Check.
Sounds good.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it. All right,
Doing
we'll
good.
We'll go back to the first one here. Westlake Road speed study. I'll let John.
I was contacted by a couple city officials, Chris Albertson and Jill Baker. We have what we call Westlake Road, it's Leobe Road and then Westlake. It's at the Casey's at the south end of Scottsburg. If you're going west, Scottsburg runs to the interstate. Once you cross the interstate, it's in the county, and it goes, I don't know, half mile, 3/4 of a mile down to another lake road. The city has put their speed limit on their end at 30 miles an hour. And I'm thinking because people are doing 55, they just keep on doing 55 coming across the interstate. And they're wanting us to lower our speed limit on our portion. Now, my discussion with them, I've explained it's not probably as simple as you know, not, we probably want to, I'm guessing you want a speed study. That's what you've always kind of told us in the past. And I've had concerns that even if we pass it, the state police couldn't enforce it. The county and city probably could, ordinance. State police can't enforce a local ordinance.
I don't know why they wouldn't be able to, but
That's what they told us at the academy, let me tell you that much. And that's the assumption I've always run by. And of course, we'd have to post it, and I asked somebody to be here tonight, nobody's here. But they wanted us to consider that so we can talk about it tonight and pass the next meeting or whatever, but I thought you need to look at that and see what our options are. And Randy and I've talked a little bit about a couple of options, but things you can do maybe without a new speed limit.
well, this is not the same as the stop sign.
No,
Okay, so.
that's another
That's a
issue.
different issue, okay. What would be the other things that you guys would want to consider other than speed?
I could see put, like Randy said earlier, you can put a slow sign, or you could put a sign up saying reduce speed, like you go down 65 when it's 70 and then it goes to 55, they have a sign out there that says reduce speed ahead. You know?
And it wouldn't hurt to have a city limit sign there. I mean, that'd be up to them, I suppose. And like you said, reduce speed ahead or something.
Yeah, I think,
Do that on a road study, right?
yeah, that you're not changing the
Yeah.
presumptive speed limit on the road. Again, so that would be, I know that's right outside of the city, and I don't know exactly the point we were talking about. Is that considered an urban district right there? Because there's a
Well,
difference for.
I know that, and I talked to him
is.
about that. Now, I know when we read that, you had to have so many houses and so many feet and all that, and I don't know, we'd have to go out and measure it. Because I told him about that, it'd be an automatic 30 miles an hour if we did that. You know where I'm talking about, don't you?
Yeah, we're talking.
I don't know if that fit into that, I don't think, do you?
I don't think it would, no.
I don't
think it's
either.
more house
Just-
condition.
yeah.
So,
But we can look at that, it's possible.
It's
I
only
think,
about
I
7
believe that
houses
you
on
could
that
put
whole
up
road.
a reduced speed ahead without, you're not enforcing like a penalty or anything.
Yeah, just letting them know,
Change.
slow down.
It's just to let them know that if they cross
The overpass.
into the cities, they may be liable for the city enforcing its own.
And I'm sitting there thinking too, they might put, I know you don't have money for signs right now.
I was gonna say, if it's their speed limit.
Maybe they could put these, maybe we could allow them to put them signs up on our property. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know what they couldn't agree. We couldn't
It's
agree.
their speed zone.
They could put a sign
I
up
don't know.
35 miles ahead or
This is
something.
where you get weird, where you're using,
Yeah.
it has something to do with using DOT, tax dollars and city and or can't, like one using it and others.
Well, I'd venture to say any place that you have, whether it's coming into a city, and they would have a,
This is the issue where we're putting,
The sign.
using county equipment and county employees who work for the,
Well, we'll let them put their signs up on our
I'm just
property.
saying, I don't know if there's a reciprocal statute out there for the city that would prohibit them from doing what that.
I won't tell.
they want the sign up, alternative.
There was one that would prohibit us from doing
Yeah,
it.
I would say have them
Opposite.
that's where I'm
check with
at.
their attorney and say that if you want to put a reduced speed ahead and sign out there, put it
Yeah,
up.
And if it fits
I don't
urban
see any
district,
reason
we'll look at that
supporting
too.
That idea, but I don't know I don't know if the city has a specific statute, like the one that applies for county departments.
I think I got told, didn't I, when I said I won't tell?
Yeah. They probably don't watch these anyway. All right, Randy, I'll let you talk about the partner of the stop sign.
Oh, yeah, just, wanted to put a stop sign up at Slab Road and Cutshall. Jeff's gonna give me a estimate of how many crashes we've had there over the last 5 years is what I've asked him to give us. And, I believe this has gotta go through, what, 3 meetings? And we have to bring it up, and allow anybody, it has to be open for anybody to come in and.
Yeah, I just sent it, I sent John and Mike the same thing I sent you. My phone was gonna die, I turned it back on. But yeah, it'd have to go through
3 readings.
yeah. And I mean, that's the exact question, the consultant gave me this and what Jackson County's gonna do.
Yeah.
I'm just repeating what he said and,
I like the 3 readings myself.
yeah, it would be okay.
And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. My only thing of caution on this is, I think we discussed before, I looked at a stop sign on a place a while back. I thought everybody'd want it. It turned out all the neighbors were mad at me for wanting to put one there. And there was reason for it. They said now people are gonna stop and burn their tires off middle of the night, wake me up, throw the trash out in my yard. So 3 readings gives us time for the public to
Yeah.
have their voice in it.
Yeah, I agree. So I guess what you're saying is at the intersection, so we can, I guess, put it out there to people, the intersection of Slab and Cutshall, you're wanting a study done or information received for that intersection to possibly put up a 4-way stop, which there's a 2-way stop there now, but it would turn into a 4-way stop.
Yeah. Anyway, this is the first, will be the first. Now the second one would be if anybody wants to come in, and then the third one would be, pastor.
And I assume we could request our local newspapers to put something.
Yeah, you have to.
I mean, it'd have to be, wouldn't it? Wouldn't you have to
You
have
have to
like,
publish your
Right.
Yeah.
notice first.
Yeah.
Yeah. okay.
Okay.
This is a, hey, let's do that.
Is this a highway?
No,
County road.
County road.
Both of them are
But
county.
they drive it like a highway.
I think many years
So
ago,
it's
there
not a
was an
road,
attempt to
it's
do
in
this
a
once
state
before,
highway
wasn't it?
system.
I don't know if they ever tried that or not, but I mean, of course, I've had
Yeah.
family that live on that road forever,
Yeah.
but
It's our county maintained road.
both of them.
Both
are.
of them.
Both of them, both of them are county
Okay,
maintained roads.
it's county maintained roads.
Yes.
Okay.
It's probably by far the fastest traveled road in Scott County.
Probably.
Yeah.
Since we paid it, it's gotten better,
Yeah, I mean, it's,
gotten faster.
I'm not, you know, I'm just gonna admit, I'm not a slow driver. I drive 65 and I've been passed like I was sitting still on that road.
You're the guy.
Yeah.
You passed him.
Yeah, it's bad,
I just mean, you know, if people are passing me, I mean, it's bad.
no, it's a high-speed road, so.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll, get that notice put in the paper and then have a second and a third reading of it, so.
According to this, on what Brad gave us, I guess Zach agrees, the first meeting, the motion is made after the first reading of the traffic ordinance. Commissioners meeting, then the ordinance needs to be voted on by the commissioners. After the first reading of the ordinance is then referred on the next public commissioners meeting, so you'd have to make a motion.
All right.
Yeah, but we would have to have an ordinance drawn up to even vote on an ordinance.
What is that from? Is that a separate counties?
Jackson.
Yeah, I just want the public to have a special.
Oh, I think they need to come in, and quite honestly, I don't know anybody that's gonna be against it, except the guys that are driving past Randy. So, but when they pass him, they got a curve to go through.
You know, part of the problem is we've got the church that has a sign, and you have to pull way
You do,
up
you do.
on that intersection to see past the church. And on the other side, there's mailboxes,
Yeah.
and you gotta pull up, and then, I mean, with people driving so fast down through there, they're on you really quick.
Yeah.
So you don't need you can vote to advertise at this meeting. That's for real, yeah.
Yeah, well,
That's
We can-
waiving readings
Marty, would you mind putting that,
by.
advertise that?
think,
We'll have to do a public hearing, we have to do a public hearing notice.
Hello?
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
want to-
I can,
Both of
you'll have to
them.
reach to Kurt, but I can
Thank you.
get something.
We'll reconstruct a public hearing notice and advertise that actually in the paper, so there'll be a legal advertisement I'll be sending for this, right?
Yep.
Zach? Okay. But so did Randy make a motion to
advertise.
advertise for this and draw an ordinance up for four-way
I'll
stop
second.
at the intersection of Cutshaw and Slab?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes. All right, Randy makes a motion to create an ordinance, and also to advertise for the ordinance, for a stop sign or four-way stop at Cutshaw and Slab.
John
John?
second that.
John seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous, so. All right, moving along. EMA.
Got out of here early for the last couple of meetings, that'll make John stay.
John tried to
Easy,
get-
easy, buddy.
Well, first thing. Yeah, I was contacted by Duke Energy. They had, I wasn't aware of it, but they have a grant program for emergency management agencies. I applied for it, got the notification back yesterday, we were awarded, it's a $2,500 grant. No match, basically free money
To do anything with?
to do anything with for emergency management.
How much?
2,500. So I submitted a plan to use some of the money for the drone program, buy some additional batteries, and then the rest of it would go towards the minibus to have maybe Watson letter it, look professional and nice. So that's that. If there's any paperwork to sign, I'll get it to you, but I don't think there is. They said the check would be cut and to us by the first middle of July. So it comes from Charlotte or somewhere.
Okay.
Nice of you.
Yep. And it's every year, so you know, we can use that money every year, just submit it. And,
Sounds good.
the other thing, recently me and Will went up to Indianapolis for WTH user conference. And while we was there, we learned how to do some editing in the map, all kinds of stuff. And what I would like your permission is, I got a proposal for a event manager subscription on public web access site. And what that is, I've got the money in my budget currently to pay for it. What this will do is, we can put it on our county website, this access, and then the public can get in there and see the GIS map, similar to the one that we have now. But this, I can go in there, or my dispatchers, and put Boltman Road is flooded, and you can put up little symbols. And then the public can access it and be like, oh, that road shut down. And it'll describe what it is, road flooding, road washed out, county highway paving, whatever. We can do all that stuff with it.
Jackson County does that, because I noticed when I needed to look up some property in
Mhm.
Jackson County, it was really interesting, because where they're putting in that auction site there on that frontage road, they have that, you know, closed to local traffic, and they, yeah, so it was nifty, really, it was.
So it's just something else that's gonna better us, better response for public service, and the public will be able to access it and all that stuff. I mean, there's a lot more stuff you can do with it, but as far as road closures.
So you've already got you already have it in your budget for it?
Yep. I think it was, it's $4,800, and then it's $1,700 support per year after that. And I have my equipment budget enough to cover it, to get the software and then for the support every year.
So would this be, okay, it's kind of like the GIS we have now, but where you can go out and look at properties and stuff like that, so.
Yeah, that tells you on here, like,
You gotta allow the public to look it up themselves, right?
the public would see, because it depends on what layers you want to make public. And what they have suggested is political boundaries, hydrology, road center lines, address points, and parcel boundaries is what the public will be able to see, other than what we put on there.
So you're not putting personal information on there, so I guess what I
No,
think
it's all
John's trying
public
to get at is
information. All the parcels, it's public.
yeah, it's public information.
Mhm.
I'm good with that, I mean, somebody wanna entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion, Jeff's doing a good job.
John made a motion, all right, go ahead, I'm sorry.
What would it take for that information to show up on Google Maps and stuff like that?
I wouldn't have any idea about Google Maps. Once we,
I'm wondering whether or not Google Maps would be, I guess it probably wouldn't access that.
this is creating a whole different website that we could put on our county website,
Like a link to it.
a link to it, and then it'll pull up the map, the county map, and show whatever information we want to put on there. Like you can put open burns or any kind of symbol you want on the map to let people know.
So if we had, say we had a bridge out, you'd be able to mark that on the map saying, hey, this road's blocked now because the bridge is gonna be out for X amount of days.
And as long as, if Kevin wants me to close a road on the map, he calls me or one of my dispatchers and they'll close it. When they get it back opened up, we'll take it off.
But the people that, I mean, the public would have to go look at that to know that it's not
Right.
something,
Yeah.
so it still has to be.
Something that we would advertise, be like, hey, go to the county website, click on this link, and you can see road closures or whatever else.
Kinda like those.
So you'd have to work close with the other departments, make sure all the information gets to you. Yeah.
Well, state highway, I know Marty gets information from the state highway when they're closing roads for bridges and stuff like that, so that we can.
Starting today, they're doing work on the interstate at Mingler Road overpass. That's gonna be down to one lane at
What are they
night,
doing?
painting the bridge
Painting the bridge.
supports.
Okay.
That's kind of weird. I mean, isn't that bridge coming out in about 2 years?
That's what I said when they called, but
Why would they paint something they're gonna take
they're
out?
doing something, I thought he said painting.
I hope they put a walkway across there.
No,
Actually, I will say this, I know there's gonna be some construction done on, the 56th overpass. I mean, it's just, they're cleaning up the exits and entrance ramps. I did ask the mayor at the time because I was in contact with someone with the state and they said, because I said that about a walkway across 65. And he said the mayor needs to get with the state because they would be able to get it in their plans and be able to do that, but the city would have to probably pay for that. But you're right, when they take that bridge out over Minglow Road, they need to put a walking path or a bike path or something across where somebody can walk across it, so.
I think starting today, it's just, I think cosmetic.
Mhm.
I would hope they're not painting it, knowing they're gonna take it out, so.
They're gonna do north, I think they're starting on the northbound side, so I forget what times, but it's at night, it's gonna be shut down to one lane. And then we'll go over to the southbound side and do that. And then they're gonna work on the Muscatatuck Bridge there at the county line, doing about the same thing.
Sounds good.
If you would
John
just,
made a motion.
John made or Randy, no, John made a motion, Randy seconded that, and I'll make that unanimous. You did second it, didn't you?
I will now, yes.
Well, you stuttered.
I'll let you sign that, but
You had a question, I guess I should say. So are you,
Yeah,
let me clarify that you're gonna second that.
I'll second that.
All
Other than
right,
that, I had
I'll make
one,
that unanimous then.
just to give you a little brief update, I had one quit a month ago due to family issues. I hired her replacement full-time yesterday. So we're back up to full staff. Got a couple additional part-time people in. They're going through their training. Me and Will go tomorrow to Shelbyville to be sworn in for the NENA chapter board. July 1st, I'll take over as president. I'll be attending the National NENA Conference in a couple of weeks in Louisville at no cost to us. The state chapter pays for.
We probably do need to vote on it, though. We probably do need to vote to let him leave.
Where are you leaving? You're leaving the state?
Louisville.
Yeah, you need to. When's that happening?
It is June.
I only say that, I think that's policy.
Policy is
Yeah.
anytime a county employee leaves the county. and it's-
Probably using a county vehicle, I don't know.
Yeah, it has to, they have to have,
I will be gone June 12th through the 16th.
no, we won't have a meeting till,
14th,
yeah, we will.
14th, 15th.
Your next meeting will be the 15th.
Well, we can go ahead and do that.
Yeah, I'm good
There's
with
usually a
it.
form you fill out and we approve it, but
Actually, I think it's a big deal
it is.
to have that position. It's an honor for you, Jeff.
Yeah.
Do we need to vote on that? So I just, I'll make a
I think we
motion,
need
let
to,
him, let him head to Louisville, use his vehicle to go.
I'm in the agenda.
yeah,
So I'm asking to amend the agenda to allow Jeff to go to Louisville to the, national conference. and-
you just have to, you just have
Got
to,
amend,
you have to amend it to add the out-of-state
Request for
travel, and then we
out-of-state
gotta vote
travel
on that, there's two
from the
things.
Director of the EMA department.
cause it wasn't on the agenda to vote on it tonight.
Yeah,
John Lisenby, motion to amend the agenda for the out-of-state travel request.
Is that what I did?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
I'll second that.
Randy's gonna second that, and I'll make that unanimous, so what we're doing is amending tonight's agenda to add this to it, to be able to vote on it, since we will not be here by the time he leaves.
And so I'll make a motion allowing him to go to Louisville and take his vehicle, by the way. I think that's a reasonable request. Should that be a separate vote?
That is it, that is your,
Okay.
if that's your
Yeah.
motion.
Yeah, that's my motion.
John made a motion to allow EMA director and his co-director, or deputy director, I guess he's called it, isn't he?
No, he's not going to.
Oh,
We're
he's
just
not
going to
that?
Shelbyville,
Okay, so it's just
Indiana.
you going.
just me.
John made a motion to allow Jeff to go to an EMA convention or
Not one.
school or
National,
something, yeah,
National NENA Conference,
in Indianapolis.
Tell them what NENA is, I know, but the
National
public,
Emergency Number Association.
National Emergency Number Association.
And this is for, basically everybody, United States. Last time I went to one, there was people from Australia, different countries, and
They still use 911?
theirs is,
I know it's not.
it's like 611 or something, but
Anyway, I voted for it.
John made a motion,
I'll second that.
Randy seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous. And just to clarify, county has a policy that anytime a county employee leaves the state for business of the county, that they're supposed to request through the commissioner's approval to do that, so that most of the time those people are being paid through the county, and they're still, if something happened to them while they're out of the county on county business, we're still kind of liable for them, so. Is that it?
unless you have something for me, I'm working, that training that we went through for WTH. I'm working with the city to get their water lines and the size of their mains and stuff, because we can put that in the map. That way, if, it'd be important to you, because if you try to hook up 2 pumpers to a 2-inch line, you're not gonna get the water pressure you need.
Pull it out of the ground.
Yeah, so I'm working on doing that and some other stuff with the mapping, but
Sounds good.
that's all I got.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it, thank you. All right, Moving along, the second thing on here, the next thing on here is courtyard use request for a cruise-in event.
You guys have that, in your packet there, that's all you have is that one document. It began, you guys gave him special approval for the one on the 20th. Looks like it's gonna be held basically every, third Saturday, every third Friday between the months of May and October.
You know, I might want to say this, is, it was very successful what they did, but they only need us to use the square. If they want to run square, they have to get that from the city for the parking and all that.
Probably, so I would
Yeah,
assume.
I mean, I think,
Well, they want me-
But they won't
us
use a
for the
gazebo.
pavilion.
yeah, and I'm for that. I'm just, hope they understand that doesn't mean they
Well,
get
if they're
to
shutting the street
close everything down
Yeah.
their art. We don't get to tell them to do that.
No, it's not the streets, it's the,
Yeah, they understand that though.
I don't know, I didn't talk to them, they just turned this into me. I
This
didn't
one here,
actually talk to them
this one
personally.
here, and I said I probably shouldn't have used the cruise-in event. This one here, it says cruise-in on the square music pavilion, so.
Yeah.
This is a free event to the public. Music will be set up in the pavilion as part of the entertainment. So, but anyway, it sounds to me like they're more of a music thing. If they're gonna shut any city streets down, they, as John said, they need to go to the
And I
city.
assume they'll call you.
Cause on the agenda, I put courtyard, so I didn't
One thing-
address the streets or anything, so they'll have to work that out, unlike you, John, with the city. But I put courtyard use for the cruise-in events, so that's what I put on
And they
there.
signed, they did the permit and everything.
And they've got insurance attached, and we're good to go that way.
I totally fine with this. There's one thing that I would like to add is have, Josh needs to go look, maybe an ocean or someplace and get some of them, T-posts and put some T-posts on both sides of the new ditch that we have in our yard from, to keep in some,
Maybe some
caution
yellow
tape
netting or orange netting or something.
or caution tape or something, just to keep people from walking back and forth across that, maybe twist an ankle.
Good idea.
I'm good with that. So I need a motion to accept this, or did I get one?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to accept this courtyard permit application from, name of Scottsburg Main Street. So yeah, surely they know they gotta go to the city too.
John make a motion, Randy seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous, so. All right, moving along. Looks like, ARP fund request, like John is.
Yeah, that
something
was,
you-
I had Sheriff Gooden call me about, I don't know, 2:15, 2:30 today. And he's, had a request for, put this on the agenda to have us, he wants to know if we'll vote again on the $200,000 he wants for the 800s. Apparently the city council on the 14th, or city council, county council on the 14th is gonna be discussing ARP money. And, he wants him in on that. And, I don't think if he wants to go for council, just for, local money, I don't think he needs a permission, but if he wants ARP, I think he would have. Is that correct?
You have to go through
Yeah.
the commissioners.
So that's the request. We can do what we want.
Well, I'm kinda confused there, or maybe it's just what, how you said it, but it's, the council's talking about ARP money in their next
They're
meeting?
talking about our, $540,000.
So they're talking about something to do with the radios?
Yes, that's exactly
Okay.
what that
All
is.
right.
Yeah. And of
Okay,
course, we haven't, I don't think we've gave him approval on the ARP money for the 800s. And he's asking for us to vote on it again.
okay.
So that's just a discussion, and what everybody wants to do or nothing, it's up to everybody here. But I told him I'd bring it up.
Okay. Well, like I said, right now, the only, and I clarified this, or tried to clarify this before, but when the argument came in between 800 versus low band system, that it wasn't a argument about one radio system versus another radio system. It was that back prior to me being here, that or John, either one, that the council decided, or the commissioners decided to pretty much fund a low band system. The 800 system was still available. It's still available today. So I just want everybody to know, there's not an argument between one system versus the other system. It's just that both systems are here. The system that we voted on for the low band was just something that was going to enhance that system that everybody was using at one time. And so anyway, that's my riff with that. So, but Randy, I guess you got anything you want to say about this or not? Or
Well, I mean, yeah. Okay. The system that we originally picked out, for, $540,000, Jeff brought to us, and Jeff has been in this game on a county level, longer than our sheriff has. And no doubt, the 800 radios are a good system, but we don't have state money. And if I'm going to vote on a radio system, I'm going to vote on the radio system that best serves all of Scott County. And as of right now, the best radio system that serves all of Scott County with our budget in mind would be the radios that Jeff picked out, which is the low band system. And it's simply because the 800s, they cannot be programmed to the point where if I have an 800, I'm not going to be able to pick up what's going on in traffic. Now, and I want to go into the story a little bit. Years ago, I'm not going to mention names, but we had somebody on the fire department who had an 800, and this was back when Dan McLean was in office, and he found out that they was going to arrest his cousin through the 800 radio, and he picked up his cell phone. He called his cousin to try to keep him from getting arrested or to run from the law. The low band system can be programmed to the point where the fire department will not pick up the sheriff department's traffic. The low band system also allows all of the fire departments to be able to talk to one another, and also the city police to be talking to the sheriff's department. We know for a fact that the state police is having trouble filling all their jobs in this, all the seats that they need to fill, and to be able to cover us like they used to. Now, they're still covering us. Their response times have slowed. And John, I'm going back to when I was reserved for you. If you're a police officer and you're out in the county, and you might be one of 2 or 3 now, back then it was less, the quickest response time of getting, if you look at the situation we have now, the quickest response time is probably going to be one of your city police officers. So, which they do not have the 800s except for in their cars. So I'm going to say no for now.
That's okay.
On the 800s.
Yeah.
Council can do, well, the council can't go on the 800s
Yeah, they
unless we
don't,
pass it, but
Yeah,
they can do what they want to with the low bands. If they want to keep putting that off, that's fine.
yeah.
They just can't use ARPA.
Yeah.
Well, just on my part, I'm not gonna rehash all this. We've talked about this for a long time, and it's never been a pleasant conversation for
They also
everybody.
can't agree to purchase anything, just to be, they can,
they can put it in his budget,
yes.
which hasn't been, so.
All he's asking us to do is vote to allow the council
Yeah.
to address it. Yeah, we wouldn't move any money. But, now, if he goes and asks for county tax money, he don't even get to come to us. But this he would, and if we don't do it here today, it's dead in the water. And so, like I said, we could rehash this thing. I don't want to do it all. I have favored it, and I told him I'd bring it up, and I'll, if you allow a vote, I'll vote to do it again. But that's just my opinion. We all have our opinions, and I've just done my part, and you guys doing your part, and we'll go on from there. So if you want a motion, I'll make it. If
The
not-
the other thing about the ARP money is that, yes, we have spent some of the ARP money on roof and a couple other things, but for the most part, we haven't really sat down and spent the ARP money whatsoever, so, I mean.
Most counties have spent a lot more than we have, I think, don't you?
I've talked to some of them, and I got a meeting tomorrow with 5 of them, and some of them have spent it, some of them
Yeah.
have not spent it, some of them have spent their first half and not, allocated any of the second half, so some of them have, and some of them haven't. I know we've got some projects out there that we're looking at, and some private people that have applied for some grants and money, and some 501Cs that have asked for some money, but we haven't.
I'm sorry not to interrupt you, but when we agreed to take use the money as,
Lost revenue.
lost revenue, then that knocked out us being able to give it to the private.
I don't think it stopped us,
No.
but it's, maybe ain't the
I don't think
top
so.
of the list, maybe.
I thought I read that, I'm sorry.
No, as long as there's, an affiliation, once you take it as lost revenue, that you could consider it as expense that could be allocated from general fund. It's an expense that could qualify for you to use it as lost revenue. You had 4 categories, and you basically, under the new rule, just took everything under the category A. But under category A, that puts it in more of your control, and then you can use it, and if you have an established relationship with an entity that you've supported in the past, that could be expended in a normal budgeting year through general fund, those are lost revenues can be expended just that same way. So is it purposeful under general fund and legal under general fund, those lost revenue dollars can be pushed in those
To the
directions.
private sector. I didn't, okay.
Well, anyway, if you
What
want,
we're talking about is like the YMCA or United Way or something like that, those organizations that sometimes we would give money
Support
to
in
or
the
help
past.
support those, we could still do those, so.
Yeah, but I mean, so we couldn't give, money for like theater seats, to
yeah, I think we could.
young elders or Edrington. That's out, correct?
Capital outlay is possible under, we can't loan, and we can't do leasing or those type of things, but if,
I don't think you can incur debt or
right,
pay off it
pay a bond,
or bond.
yes, anything like that. But it would again be a request that they could put before you and you could consider it.
Okay, I thought
And
that
it could be something that you could, as stimulus, and in this particular situation and the times that we have, if that stimulates and develops more businesses and more, then that is a genuine use of ARPA funds.
I didn't realize we could do that, okay.
Well, anyway,
I totally
I'm
agree
asking
with
for
that.
a,
So,
maybe make a
I'll have
motion.
to
Then
correct
we'll
that.
go from there. So it's all right to make a motion?
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a motion to grant, the authority for the sheriff to go to the council and use the ARPA money to request $200,000 for his 800 radios.
All right, John's made a motion to request us to approve $200,000 for the sheriff to go to the council for 800 radio systems. Do I hear a second?
No.
Guess it
It does, motion does.
dies on the lack of a second then.
All right, thank you for allowing me to bring it up.
You're welcome. All right, moving right along. Consideration approval for May 2022 regular monthly claims Has everybody had an opportunity to look at the claims?
Yeah, I went through them yesterday, and every time I go through them, I have to ask a lot of questions, but I go in the other room and the girls explain some things to me, and so I'm good with them.
I do too, but I wish, and I hate to say this, but, because I'm sure it's more paperwork, but I wish that there was a better description of
Yeah.
some of these expenditures, because there's times when, I'm looking, I'm like, well, that kind of falls under a vague topic, and it could be anything within that topic, and granted, if I see something that, you know, I kind of question, I too ask a question, go, hey, can you explain that, or can you send me the invoice, and they usually do, so.
Mhm.
Randy, you had an opportunity to look at the claims?
Yeah, briefly.
It's hard to do it, briefly, it is, there's so much, it's amazing to me when I sit there with that pile, and you're like, well, I can do this in 30 minutes, and you're still there an hour later,
Yeah.
or an hour and a half later, so.
Well, the one thing I'm gonna ask Tammy, since she's here and it's her office, if I, for instance, came in and said, can you give me from year to date, what we've paid in office supplies? Can you do that without having to go through every claim?
It would
Or-
be every budget, and then pulling the office supply line, because most budgets have the same number for office supply lines. Now, if we've got the major vendors, they can do a vendor, they can run down what we spent with each vendor. So if there's typically 5 vendors, like Staples, Office Shop, we could do year-to-date ranges on
And
those.
it doesn't matter what department's coming out of it, it'll just
It
pull
would be in that vendor.
That's where I'm kinda getting at, cause there's a couple items that I would really, you know, I always think about Excel sheets, cause I'm an Excel sheet fanatic, but I'm wondering if, you know, if I ask for a specific item or what here is expenditure or the comment, if I said, hey, what did we spend in this comment section, could that easily be pulled?
There's ways to customize the reports, so there's probably a way to get what you want out of that system, because there's filters that you can assign, and
Okay.
access it by, line number, like the code for the
Okay.
expenditure. Yeah.
Alright,
You know, and I don't know if you're like me, but I go through a lot of that stuff, and quite honestly, you look at it and you have to put your face sometimes into people, because you go through that stuff, I'm not sure exactly what that's for, but I know it's in the realm of what they need.
well, I get that.
It's hard to go through, it is difficult to
Yeah, I
approve
get it.
everything.
And then our software also will give you a warning if that budget line it doesn't like if that's been spent down, and say they got $500 in it, and you're trying to push a claim through for 1,000. It's gonna warn us that budget is gonna be overexpended. So then you call your department head and say, hey, look, this is what we've got, what are you showing? And, you know, and then you look at that and you spot check that. So there's a lot of auditing and a lot of checks and balances that goes on with that, because that's a layering system, just like payroll. I mean, you want the employee to be honest about their hours, then you want the supervisor to know what the employees are doing and sign off on that. That's why there's the employee, and so they're attesting to that point that this is what's true and correct. And then we have to look at it from a standpoint, did they do their job, which to us is keep track of their time, record it correctly, make sure, you know, we don't really like cookie cutter timesheets, because you know everybody's not perfect. They don't arrive here at 8:30 and leave here at 4:30 every day and take the exact same time for lunch every day. We don't like cookie cutter timesheets. We like them to vary, because that's the true story. We got the 7-minute rule, so people should be writing down the time they get here. You know, I'm preaching to my people out there, please listen. But anyway, you know, and then we're audited from the State Board of Accounts standpoint for, are we doing our job? Are we paying the taxes? Are we taking care of things? And are we making sure that all these people in this layer have done their job up to the point we get it? And then are we accurate and correct about our disbursements, about posting it to the right funds? Because but again, every person plays a role in this, so it's the same way with claims. Your department purchaser has got your all's authority up to the appropriation that council has provided them in the budget, okay? So if it's, you know, office paper. It's in their office supply line. They get that lump sum, kind of like part-time monies. It's a lump sum. Then they expend it, you know, and they should be watching their budget. And then if we notice that if it comes up in the system that, hold it, that budget's gonna be overexpended if you process this claim, then it's up to us to go back and touch base with that department head and say, this claim's not gonna work. What's going on? And then we find a mistake, if there's been a mistake and something's been, you know, overexpended, but it's really not overexpended, it's just an error or whatever. So they work really closely with, you know, trying to make sure that everybody does their due diligence in the process.
Okay.
And that's what State Board of Accounts, they random pull claims and make sure all the paperwork's there. Yeah.
And I know we've been in this before, I just don't think we've ever done anything about it. And,
Whoops.
I didn't need it anyway.
So one thing I would like us to bring up and pass is when somebody gives us a receipt or a bill, that it should be itemized in what they've done
Yeah.
and what we received for that service.
Yeah, that's
I
where,
mean, that needs to be in writing, and that needs to be, I mean, you know, there should be records of that, not, you know, I'm just, like if Jeff has something done over there and Jeff's off sick, you know, we should be able to read the bill and see what it was that was done without having to wait till Jeff gets back or try to have to it should be out plain sight for everybody to see. So, and I know we've talked about this, but we haven't done it yet. So
Our
that's
purchase-
something I would like to pass. I mean,
Well, our purchasing ordinance is quite old. I think it's 1998. So Zach and I have talked
We
about
have
this
talked
before.
about,
Yes.
there's some pieces to it that, probably need to be adjusted.
Yeah, and
So
updated.
it may be an opportunity when looking at the pieces that we've talked about to address that issue as well. And actually, when I get the chance, I'm gonna talk about a different issue with another ordinance, so maybe we need to talk about a couple of older ordinances that need some adjustments.
Yeah, it's
well, I would agree with that, because like I said, when I see stuff here, or even when I ask to pull up the original invoice,
Mhm.
it'll just be from XYZ vendor,
Yeah.
maintenance on something at courthouse.
yeah, very vague.
I mean, what was at the courthouse that you did? I mean, and then what, you might see that one, and then you might see 1-2 days later from the same vendor going, you know, work at the courthouse. What are you doing? I mean, are you working on the air conditioning system or the electrical system or plumbing system in this area or this area? And I'll tell you that I've asked Josh at the beginning of the year, because I knew we were gonna have budget issues, and I said, please be more descriptive in what you're asking for and what your vendors are doing, because people are gonna start looking closer at what the bill is. I mean, what are you having them here to do, and what are they doing? And if they're doing it multiple times, do we need to replace something? Do we need, you know, or are we having the same problem with it, and they're not fixing it? I don't know. I mean,
Probably a good source would be our Commissioners Association. I'm sure there's other counties have certain forms, and maybe we could build a little ask and questions, and maybe they could send us some of what other counties do, and it might fit our
So
bill.
we can
Well,
adopt
the
it for
claim
Yeah.
form
everybody else.
itself is a state form.
Yeah.
That claim form that our departments had used to explain what that invoice is for, they could utilize that state form that we have right, and that's what the State Board of Accounts has approved, and that's the authentic form that we're supposed to use. With the exact language on it and the language on the back of it, they could write a bigger explanation on the claim form that corresponds with the bill that they received. It's charged, this purchase ordinance, that if you guys revise one, should charge the department heads with that responsibility to satisfy your claims approval, because it's not going to be good if their bills don't get paid.
and I get that,
Okay,
but
so
again, and this is a small abbreviated report.
Yeah, cause we have only so much space to write
But
what
when
that check's for.
Yeah, but when it says tire slash parts slash and what department it is, that tells you, okay, it's either a part or it's a tire. And I know in that description,
Yes.
that's what it is, but I mean, if you have to go out and look at all these to know, was it a tire, was it a
You'll be a lot
starter,
looking.
was it, I mean,
And
you'll
that's
be there for
probably
2 years.
tied to that number that's on that sheet,
Yeah,
because that's
it
the
is.
budget line.
It
It's
is.
either vehicle maintenance or whatever.
Yeah, it's
And it takes-
22,101.
It
I
takes
mean,
actually pulling that claim to really see what it was.
But that's what I'm saying is, in this form, this particular form, and I understand the format, it doesn't give you a big description of what it is, and I get that, and it's our due diligence, I guess, to go out and look at it in more in depth and say, okay, can you give me something else? And I'm not saying any of these are wrong, I'm just saying that
Right.
there's times when I look down through and I just kinda look at a big ticket item going, or if I see multiples of the same thing going, what is
Yeah,
going on
why are we
here?
paying this person 5
So-
times? Yeah,
So,
I get
Yeah,
it.
and then when you look it up, to actually be able to bring it up to read what it was is another thing.
description is
Instead-
terrible.
Instead of, tires, something like that, okay?
And then the auditor's job is to, within 5 days of a meeting, prior to a meeting, supply you with a list of claims.
Yeah.
Not the claims, because the claims are here. So Mandy sits them out on her desk each month, waiting for somebody to come pull them and take a look at them and go over your list you had, and mark what you were interested in, and come in here and peruse through them. Or if you need us, if you question one, we can scan it to you and send it to you by email. We'll try to help you all we can, because I know everybody's busy, so.
Yeah, but I mean, like I'm saying is, the receipts that you have are written very vaguely.
Right,
They're-
and
They
again,
themselves are not,
Vendors are not doing it.
the vendors are not writing on there what they're supplying.
and that would be you guys again telling your
The department
department heads that I am requiring this type of invoice, or we won't be approving these
That works
claims.
except for
Yeah.
elected officials.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, I think we do need to revamp those ordinances, purchasing
Yeah.
ordinance and those others, and
it would be a benefit
I
to
think
review
that,
those,
Uh,
yeah.
I've got another one that I want to talk about, so we go ahead and try and I don't necessarily know that this one needs to be redone. There were just some questions about its current format. So if you'll send me the ordinance, we can get something scheduled
That'd be fine, cause
for
it,
the next
it's,
meeting for them to
Well,
at least see
yeah.
for first reading.
if it's 1998 since the last time we wrote something,
It's
they
been
didn't even
a
have
while.
computers back then, so. All right, I'll entertain a
Children's
motion to accept the claims as they
I'll,
are.
I'll make the motion.
John made a motion to accept the claims.
Yeah,
Randy?
nothing stuck out that I
It
see.
didn't
Yeah,
make
me
it this
either.
time. Randy seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous, so.
and I flooded you guys with minutes. I'm trying to get,
Yeah.
April was a big month here.
April, let's see, consideration of the minutes for, and I'm gonna throw these all together. Consideration of the minutes from April 6th, regular meeting, special meeting April 12th, April 20th, regular meeting, April 21st, special emergency meeting, and April the 22nd, special emergency joint meeting. So everybody had an opportunity to, if you weren't present, to know what the meeting, or the minutes were.
Yes.
Accept or entertain a motion. Randy makes a motion to accept all those minutes. John-
Second.
John seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous.
And I said the minutes and I caused you to skip the payroll. I'm sorry, Mike.
Did I not do that?
May 20.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right, payroll ratification for May the 20th.
Motion made.
Everybody had an opportunity to see that.
Motion.
Yes.
John made a motion.
I second that.
Randy seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous. I guess we'll go to the attorney comments here since he's here. I'm glad to see you're healthy today.
Yeah, I apologize.
No, you don't have to apologize for being sick.
I just could not get over it. Kept
Let me-
coming back for about 3 weeks.
Let me throw one out. When you missed, I had, I think we brought up the last meeting, the farmer's market
I brought my,
You already talked to him
I
about
talked
that?
about the striping of the plot down there.
And we kinda put it off because we wanted you to have consideration for our liability.
Remember when I
What was
asked
the
you
outcome?
about?
Yes, so, I don't know, I don't think that there would be an issue associated with liability. I mean, I realize once the county takes affirmative steps to, like put in signs, things like that, you have a duty to maintain them in proper, working order. But I don't know that I had any specific concern as to the liability for striping a parking lot, as long as it's,
And they're paying for it.
yeah.
Got their own insurance.
And are they gonna run by the striping, like the plan, I guess, by you guys?
Well, they'd have to have Kevin.
Approved?
I mean, I wouldn't be for it unless Kevin,
So, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't necessarily, I did not see an issue with that.
So do we need an MOU with
And
them?
that
Yes.
is probably something that we should do. So I think for the next
we can
meeting,
arrange that.
I can draft.
It'd be the farmer's market.
Yeah.
Could I just get like the contact information?
Oh,
Marty, you got that? Chris?
Sure.
who was it? I can't.
Where do you want
Chris
it?
Wakeman.
There's,
Just send to
Yeah,
my.
Chris White,
send it-
Chris
Just send it to
White,
my email so I can like run it.
Chris White.
I mean, it'd be
Yeah.
very kind of simple.
I think it's a good idea, but there's one stipulation I would like to put on it. Either we put on there Saturday only or for farmers market only. Because,
For use for parking.
yeah,
Yeah, so I think that's,
I mean, somebody needs to paint that on there.
yeah, as part of the MOU essentially that, I mean, that's what I didn't really know. I don't know factually like what that parking lot, is it supposed to be for public employees, like using it? Is it a public parking lot in the sense that anybody can
Pull off
park
the
there?
road for the county.
Are they asking us for like an obligation to reserve certain spots for that business?
No,
You know,
I don't.
I think if we just put a sign up on the fence there saying, farmer's market parking Saturday only or something.
I don't think we'll do anything, just mark it and go on.
Well, well, here's what I'm afraid of, is that they're gonna think it's public parking, when in all actuality, it's the driveway to the county highway.
Yeah,
So I think that if you just stripe it up, and somebody's gonna say, well, I don't know how to park there, there's all kinds of parking there. Well, no, we're allowing
Are they-
special.
Are they gonna be comfortable with like an MOU that's on a year-to-year basis? Because I don't know that we're allowed to do that for more than that.
I'm sure they will.
I think they're fine with
Yeah.
that.
Okay. And again, despite the fact that they would agree to stripe it, any future board of commissioners could alter that
Oh, yeah.
arrangement.
Yeah, we could be overridden.
So, as long as they're okay
He's
with
saying
that.
they're trying to
I
get
don't
rid of me, is
necessarily-
that what he's doing?
Now,
He's trying to get rid of me?
Randy's point is a little different than that, but yeah.
I mean, I just don't want the county highway or Kevin and them guys having to deal with people parking there thinking they can park there anytime, and them trying to move equipment in and out. Sometimes,
Yeah,
they need that big drive to turn them trucks around.
And it would be just a Saturday thing and maybe special events or something.
That's why I wanna have
Yeah.
the contact information so I can see kind of what.
I think some signage that says Saturday parking only or something.
Hmm.
And there might be a Saturday that it's, well, of
Oh,
course, the
they-
farmer's market wouldn't be open when the snow's flying, so.
In the summer, it gets pretty busy down there. I mean, they do have trouble finding a space to park over there.
Oh, I agree
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If they go on the back row, they may not get out of there.
Yeah, and you do have people who tries to park right, and then you have somebody who comes in and tries to block them all. You know,
Park is.
we're only gonna be here a minute, let's just park here.
I think we're doing the right thing here. So.
I do too.
Marty, if you'll get with Zach and then, Marty,
Do we need to vote on this?
you'll get with Zach and then get with, I know you got a hand in with Chris.
You don't need to vote on it right now.
We just need
I
to
can go ahead and
have
prepare a
Chris,
proposal and.
if you'll get his stuff so he can get an
Make sure
MOU
they're
at our
okay
next
with it.
meeting so that we can vote on it then. MOU.
You just need to send me the contact.
Just send
Just send.
Chris's information. She's got her phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing this right now.
Anyway, I guess your comments, and we'll get to our closing and
So,
stuff here.
I had received a question about, our abandoned vehicle ordinance, which is actually by statute set up by the fiscal body. So I don't know that we have the ability to change it. But the ordinance that's currently in effect, I think there's been several iterations of the statutes that it references. Now, I think it's still,
You're talking about abandoned
abandoned
vehicles
vehicles.
You're
on
not talking-
properties?
Well, abandoned vehicles defined in the code specifically as, there's like 7 different definitions. It can be on public property illegally,
Alongside roadways.
yeah, without being moved for a period of 3 days.
Or unlicensed?
On a right of way that's a hazard or obstruction,
Oh, I know what you're getting at.
a vehicle that has remained on private property for for
How
48
many,
hours.
how many abandoned vehicles you can have on, you're allowed, I think you're allowed to have 2 or 3
There's
on
nothing-
our ordinance.
There's nothing that says you're allowed to have any amount of vehicles on.
But back up a second though.
Local ordinance allows it, but I don't know if
Did you
that's.
say-
I don't see anything in this ordinance for removal and disposal of abandoned vehicles. If there's a separate ordinance that deals with total permitted abandoned vehicles, I have no idea.
I only know that because I had to do it.
Okay, I don't see anything in here that talks about
And then there
allowed.
was something on top of it that said if you hide them, forget about it.
Well,
But there-
that has to do with vehicles on private property that are not visible from
Yes,
The roadway.
public roadway,
Mhm.
which is a separate definition of what abandoned vehicle
But
means.
you said in your first comment there, that the fiscal body made the ordinance.
That's right.
Why, how would the council make an ordinance that has something to do with a policy of the county? 'Cause
It
that's
has to
not-
do with the adoption of the fund itself, which is where I'll just find it.
So what you're saying is there's a fine connected with this, and that fine would go to the council.
Yes.
and I can tell you, I doubt if there's ever put a penny put in that fund.
I don't know.
I guess my question,
It's, I mean, I see 9-22-1-30, fiscal body procedures established by ordinance, abandoned vehicle fund. The fiscal body shall by ordinance establish procedures to carry out this chapter, including the following: charges allowed for towing and storage of abandoned vehicles, which shall be filed with the Bureau, and the means of disposition of vehicles. The fiscal body shall establish an abandoned vehicle fund for the purposes of this chapter.
so they established a fund, the commissioners would establish the ordinance to, and the rules of.
The fiscal body shall by ordinance. Yep.
Okay.
I mean, this one specifically says it's the fiscal body. I think the original ordinance, which is, there was a prior ordinance, and then 25-12 is the current one that's in effect. It was, the ordinance was, I mean, it's actually signed by the commissioners, so,
That's what I'm thinking is that
That's,
funding of it, the council would have to set up a fund for that.
I actually have an abandoned vehicle in my taxation software because liens can be placed, I guess, on them.
well, it can also fall in certain areas underneath the health department.
Here's, this is an ordinance adopted by the commissioners back in 2005, the removal and disposal of abandoned vehicles.
so they set up the fund, we deal with the,
That's what I'm thinking.
well, but it says it says the means of disposition of vehicles, that's what I mean.
The problem I run into,
Is that 2005?
What do you consider,
well, no, it was defined, I mean, it was defined. And I would go out and warn people, and then if they just didn't comply, we tagged their cars and
Yeah,
then
so
wrote them
there's
a
a,
ticket.
there's a pre-notice
And
requirement.
we did all that.
And a post-notice requirement before the vehicle is towed and then after the
Yeah.
vehicle is towed.
And I did every bit of that. The issue always comes down to who they're gonna pay the fine to,
It gets paid to.
on a local ordinance, huh?
It gets paid to the abandoned vehicle fund.
I know, but
To the
I mean,
clerk.
somebody got a right to say I'm innocent if they want to.
That's correct.
And then what happens?
They would have, I mean, essentially, it's not an administrative hearing, it's a.
Before,
it would be a hearing in front of
and the judge would be
It would be judge.
on a local
Howard.
ordinance?
Well, an ordinance is a local law, so I mean,
Yeah.
it'd have to fall
It would be
into,
judge-
Well, it's a civil law.
It would be,
Yeah.
it would be Judge Hauser.
Okay,
It would be, there's a specific filing in, the Odyssey, like, system setup, which is the statewide filing system for, e-filing system for all the courts. There's a filing code for OV, which is ordinance violation. That we currently, I currently file cases under OVs
okay.
on behalf of the county for departments.
So if we just had a fund set up, which we do, and somebody just wanted to pay their fine, they would pay it to who?
Well, it gets paid at the clerk's office, I think, if the fine were assessed by the judge, and then it gets transferred from the clerk's office into the.
When she does a
Okay.
report of collections at the end of the month, then what she collects on behalf of all these different funds, the drug-free community and whatnot, gets posted to the fund based on her reconciliation of her fines collected for the month.
That's my
so
understanding.
back to
And
the
they-
original thought here, you're wanting to correct,
Well, there's some
improve.
There's some
ordinance.
changes that are going into effect.
There was in the ordinance, and I think it's still there, that if somebody wanted to file a complaint, they could do it anonymously.
That's correct, it's still in there, yes.
Yeah,
That's a person reporting an abandoned vehicle.
Yes.
Their names
and
remain.
then up to law enforcement to go out and investigate.
So there are new rules from the
There's just some
state
like
that you want to
changes,
clean
there's
it
just some
up.
like changes in language, I just wanted, because I got the request about looking at I wanted to kind of let you guys know I'm going through to see, and there's some changes that are gonna be effective as of July 1st. But from my reading, so in the last couple of days, the changes don't affect the substance of this ordinance. So it's not, I don't have concerns about, I guess, the enforceability, because the statutes that are clearly referenced in here are still active statutes.
I think we need to clean it up, though. I think we
When-
need to make it a little less confusing of, hey, if you live on a 100-acre farm and you've got 50 vehicles back in the field that no one can see but you, because you drive back there and see it, because you grew up on a farm.
That
People
ordinance,
used to have trash piles or junk areas in their own farms, and they take their old equipment and take it back there.
that ordinance literally allows you to put a fence up around it. Or trees or something. It's
But if
it's
you
made-
can't, but as long as you can't see it from the road, then it's.
No, as long as the neighbors
Yeah,
can't see
so a
it.
vehicle shall not be considered abandoned vehicle if it is stored in a garage or other building or within a screened area which blocks the vehicle from
And there's
public view
things
from the
about
road or
license
neighboring
plates and license and all that.
Um,
But in first looking at it, you think it's a health issue, but when you really get into that ordinance, it's all about working with your neighbors, so
Well, it's
if you got an unsightly thing there, they don't have to look at it.
Yeah, I agree with
And I
that.
think if it's not changed, it's specifically enforcement officers, the sheriff on this.
yeah.
I think you're
That's-
right there
that's
too.
correct. Or, I mean, it says, the sheriff's department or a designated agent of Scottsburg.
We could have an enforcement officer if we wanted to hire one, I guess,
Correct.
like the city's got, but my whole thing here is I think we need to look at that ordinance and stiffen it a little bit and because too many times do I drive through the country and see 4 cars parked between the road and somebody's front door, and they've been there for as long as I've been alive.
If I would change the things that I would change, I would add in the pieces of the statute that talk about the notice requirements to the owner, which I think could help enforcement in the sense that it would allow the sheriff's department to look at one, because right now I think what's happening is they're having to look at the local ordinance and the state code to figure out, the local ordinance gives me the power to do these things, but the state code defines like how I go through each of the steps. If you just adopted like the same language as the code and said, you know, before you tow a vehicle that's on private property, you gotta tag it and give them 72 hours before, you know.
And I don't think this stops the health department to go out, if you got abandoned vehicles, there's oil spilling out in the grass and all that kind of stuff, it doesn't.
That's a different issue.
Well, I think health can get into that, can't they?
Well, they'll,
Yeah.
any vehicle leakage of oil, gas, or whatever, hydraulics, they'll call IDEM, and IDEM gets involved, but then IDEM will go, well, if it's not 50 gallon or more, they're not really gonna get a whole lot.
Well, I'm gonna throw Marty in again. We had one here, what, a year ago? There was probably 50 guys from a guy's backyard along the interstate. And, I think they finally came in and just, I think it was a sheriff, or, he came in and basically
Worked
said,
with the sheriff's.
told them to get it
department,
done or else.
So that has to do with,
invoking that old ordinance.
Yeah.
they used this, but that, I thought that there was something, that would have to do with zoning.
No, I don't think
or
so.
no? Okay, so the
They had
sheriff
a good
just
50
used
cars in
this.
the backyard there.
Yeah, they
I
did.
mean,
Now, they did say that some of that was, help me out here,
Well,
John.
he was trying to do the business.
Well, that was another thing. He was zoned R1
Okay, then
and
that's
was
what,
conducting a business.
But
But
he-
also, he said some of those were for, demos.
Yeah, and I think that even,
I get that, but my whole thing is, and I think
there's some kind of
everybody,
exception in here for those.
there is, yeah.
but I think
There
we
is.
all,
Only a certain amount.
Yeah.
But it is happening occasionally, and we gotta.
Yes.
I think we need to clean it up and get a distinct, here's what's gonna happen, we're gonna knock on your door, we're gonna verbally tell you, then we're going to tag the car, then we're going to send you a letter, and then you're going to be called into a hearing.
Well, the car gets tagged right now, and then if 72 hours passes and no action's taken, then the public agency has the ability to tow the vehicle. They can use a private towing company to do that.
And you can enter on their property to do it.
They can. Private towing company gets like a lien essentially for their costs, like a mechanic's lien. It gets towed somewhere, it sits there for so many days, but right after it arrives, there's a time frame that starts when the sheriff's office has to go in and look through the database to see who, and that's actually what's changing July 1st is, right now it says like lien holder and title owner or something. It's gonna change to like individual with certificate of title and all lien holders. But they have to search that and send notice to all of those people. So any lien holder, so that would include potentially the people that towed it, and any of the individuals that have title to the vehicle.
You're
If
talking.
so many days passes, you can assess storage costs. There's a fine that can be imposed up to a maximum amount. There's also the ability for the lien holder to ask for a public sale. If you do the public sale, you can't enforce the storage costs. You have to get your costs out of the public sale.
So are you talking strictly abandoned vehicles, or are you talking about
Only abandoned vehicles.
vehicles
Well, you
that,
could have a vehicle you're titled to, just not licensed. It's on that ordinance. If you have 3 vehicles on there, you may own them, but if you ain't licensing them, it fits into that ordinance.
Wait, what?
but I'm also talking about if I own
Suppose
a,
that's abandoned.
if I own a property and I got 10 cars parked in my side yard, do they fall under this ordinance? Because they're not abandoned, I mean, they're mine, I know where they're
So,
at.
and I get, it's not like how we would normally think of abandoned, it's how the statute defines.
And that's where I'm
abandoned.
saying, is it one the same, or is it, we talking about two
It
different things?
is a vehicle that is at least 3 model years old, is mechanically inoperable, and is left on private property continuously in a location visible from public property for more than 20 days.
That's
That's
what I'm
that's
talking about.
deemed abandoned, that's
Yeah. Okay.
legally, that is an abandoned vehicle.
Even if you had a title on it, it's abandoned.
It is, it's
Yeah,
abandoned.
yeah,
It's on blocks,
yeah.
so.
Now, if it's on blocks, that's a vehicle from which the engine, transmission, or differential has been removed, or that is otherwise partially dismantled or inoperable. That's a different definition for abandoned.
That's
There's
strict.
multiple that might apply in any
Yeah.
given circumstance.
Generally, I'm. unless-
I think we need to rewrite it, and clean it up, and so can we bring it at the next meeting, kind of a clean
We
version
can
of
do
it?
I can do yeah.
You all right with that?
Yeah.
Marty?
I do have one question.
Yeah.
I noticed in my drives around the county, there is one farm that appears to be collecting old machinery, old farm equipment.
Mhm.
And I know that this being an agriculturally based county, there may not be anything in that ordinance to,
Protect that.
yeah.
We talking about on Green Bend Road?
Anything that has a motor is considered a
No,
motor
it's
vehicle.
off of Lover's Lane.
You know where it's at.
So.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about?
So
That's
actually,
Okay.
a lot of that's
actually
been hauled
under
out there,
this,
You know that?
I need to look
They're
at the
hauling a lot of
administrative,
it out.
but
Yes,
vehicle,
they are.
vehicle is not
Yeah,
defined
they
as
are.
a motor vehicle. It's, the term vehicle refers to an automobile, a
Okay.
motorcycle, a truck, a trailer, a semi-trailer, a tractor, a bus, a school bus,
A
a
tractor.
recreational, so it could be a tractor. That's how it's currently
But
defined.
it's not farm machinery, it's not, it has a motor tractor.
But it's a motor vehicle.
A plow is a motor vehicle, it's being pulled by a motorized vehicle, so that could be,
Plow wouldn't be, but the tractor would be.
that's what I'm saying, but some of this equipment is
Yeah.
abandoned and stuff like that,
It's
so
abandoned
anyway.
equipment, but it's not an abandoned vehicle.
let's-
Well, almost always, just
let's
from my
clean it up.
experience, almost always to go out and try to work with people to get them to
Oh,
buy
yeah.
it, buy it before you have to do anything, so.
We get that.
I don't know what
Well, I
sheriff
think
would do,
that's
but
what I'm saying,
probably.
is some build in the notice requirements so that you, that property owners or vehicle owners are protected. And that
I
the
agree.
person who's trying to enforce it understands the steps that they have to go through.
Mhm.
Okay. What else you got?
I shouldn't open my mouth, should
That
I?
was it.
That was it? Wow. John, you got anything?
No, I probably started too much trouble already.
Well, you're still trying to get us out of here later. Randy, you got anything? All right, I got two things. First of all, the city / county / parking lot over here is blacktop and striped. John, I know last meeting you brought up, a comment about how do we determine or distinguish county vehicles from public vehicles about parking there. I don't know how we do this, and I guess, Tammy, have you got any suggestions from being an employee at the Courthouse about possibly a sticker? I don't wanna be an adhesive sticker, cause people drive multiple cars. Or we talk about something like you get at IUS that you hang on,
Just a hanger.
something that you can hang off your
Just a little
rear
thing,
view
it's got a
mirror,
little hook you put
or
on
lay it
your
on
rear
your
view.
dash, or.
I like that better, cause you can move back and forth.
Can we get a
with it.
price or something on something
think
like
I can
that,
check
so that we can get people, and then I guess, has it been communicated to county employees that they need to start? Can you, and I'm gonna ask these two guys, are you guys good with us having Tammy send an email to everybody stating that, it's the parking
Well,
lots?
I will say we have to, it's not just to employ, there's certain people that won't fit in the category, usually for security reasons.
I get that,
So we need to identify those people, which
I
I
get
think
that.
we know, we're talking prosecutor judges.
but we don't have a handicap spot over there, so if we have a handicapped employee that needs a
True.
handicap spot, those people are gonna be exempt, so.
True.
So anyway, we just need to get a price on some sort of identification. And if we do have that employee that's handicapped, we need them, I don't wanna single them out, but I mean, they need to know that, hey, I'm handicapped and I need a special spot.
Yeah.
And we may have to make another handicap spot out
Mhm.
here or something, but.
It wouldn't hurt everywhere there's a entryway to the courtyard to have a couple
I
of
agree with
handicap
that.
spots on each
I agree with
side.
that.
Talking as your ADA coordinator.
Yeah,
I agree
Because
with
it's
that.
not,
we've kind of
it's
discussed
not
that.
a good thing to have 2 of your 4
No.
entrances not have handicap spots next to the
I
sidewalk.
agree
And then
with
we need to have the little ramps put there, because obviously if you don't have the handicap spot, you don't think about the ramp. But once we do that, we need to install a little bit of a
That's
wedge.
That's
Yeah,
kind of where the
break that
sidewalk
down.
is gonna come.
Is that something we do, or that be something city do, or we together?
That's on us.
That's our problem.
From the
City
curb-
streets, what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
well, we can get with them to tell them we're gonna do it.
I agree with you, I just wanna make sure
The
we're,
city stripes the
The parking.
the
spaces,
street,
The street,
but the grade for the sidewalks would be on
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Alright, that's one thing I got. The other
we need to
part,
be
We
done.
could ask the city to,
I'm sure
assistant.
if we can get all our people off the square, they'll be happy to strike that.
You know, I've talked to several employees, and I haven't had anybody complain about it yet. I mean, in the past, I know that, because they had a couple blocks just across the street, and they seem to be pretty quiet. As a matter of fact, quite a few people's already parking over there.
I see that.
But the question might come, you know, well, it's not a question, they just have to park over there.
Second thing I got is, the corner room
Yeah,
is officially in the coroner's hands, so,
Good.
So they fix that AC unit?
yeah, everything's full. They put a new unit in.
they're in it?
So that was
They're in it.
the AC unit.
The unit, they
Bad.
didn't even look at, they just took it out and put a new unit in.
Oh, okay.
So, it's one of those slide out, slide in deals, so. So they're in there, they got the keys. So it's a done deal, so
Yeah.
maybe, the next, not next week, but the week after, maybe we can all get out there and kinda do a open house with them, or that's kind of a morbid thing to say, open house at the morning.
People are dying to get in.
I wouldn't have said that, but, but anyway, that's pretty much all I got. For our next meeting, I don't think there's anything like that going for.
I have a question about the city enforcement of the parking around the square. Encourage everybody to tell everybody that that is designated parking now for county employees on the east side in the new parking lot that's striped and ready to go. No handicap spots are available, so all employees that do not need access to a handicap spot, please begin parking over there, because the city will also begin monitoring and enforcing their 2-hour parking rules around the square
Yep.
very soon.
That's what he said. That's what he told me too.
That's what he told me. I mean, that's been the
I
goal
just
all
wanna make sure I
along.
can get everything.
Before, I mean, for people to understand, that happened with that individual long before he was mayor, because he had several businesses around the square, and he called me personally and say, you know, can you get those people to move their car? And I'd make the call over here, and it wasn't just him, it was other, there was this whole part of the square over here, I got phone calls from. So now we've, in conjunction with the city, having space for a lot of county employees. I don't know if they're all gonna be able to get in there, and we're gonna have to talk with the mayor after we see how many people are driving and how many cars are county vehicles. We may have some that can't get in that parking space over there. And we'll just have to say, you know, we got 90% of the vehicles off the square, and, you know, you're just gonna have to live with the 10% that we can't get off the square,
It'll
so
be a vast improvement over what we had.
should be.
And by the way, I appreciate the city for making the move on it, and us working together on it. I think it worked out pretty well.
I think it has.
And I think there's still more can be done over there, but it's open now anyway.
But that was another push for, you know, the thing with the sidewalk on the inside of the curb. I think anybody, anywhere around the square can get out of their car, walk to the front of their car, get on the sidewalk, and walk, you know, out of the roadway, and I think would be a big help too.
Did we ever finally agree that we was wanting to do this?
I think
We've talked, I would suggest if we do it, we start the east side first. That seems like where it's worst. Everything's crumbled over there pretty
well,
bad.
but that's also where the majority of the people park, because the entrance to the courthouse right now.
And the bigger
so.
handicap spot.
Yeah, and it's pretty
So,
rough.
but anyway, I think, I thought we voted on that and would send it to the council for approval, but I don't know if we did or
I don't
not.
think we did.
Or was
I thought we
Josh
included
getting
them with the
prices?
roof.
I think
I know
Josh
there
was
was-
getting quotes.
I think we did.
I don't
I
remember.
think you were gone and Teresa was here. We included that in the price of the roof and the construction around the courthouse as one project. So I guess it's just at the point where we just need to
Decide on.
decide the bid, whoever was the lowest bid or whatever, and say, this is who we're gonna get. Cause Teresa did do that.
I know ARPA's
She-
advertised,
She actually put it in that one, but we can't really do anything till,
and I haven't typed that set of minutes, so I'm not caught up on that.
I think, tell me if I'm wrong, and I probably am, but tell me if she's advertised it, after it's advertised, it has to go to council for the council's approval, correct?
Correct, and I can get a breakdown on what, cause she advertises it on lump sum,
Yeah.
so there's
But she did, I do
Number.
remember that, now that you said that, I do
Okay.
remember her grouped that into that project. She goes, that is as a courtyard, courthouse project, and we need to do that.
We need the dirt to fill in our new
Should
river,
we,
lazy river we
I'm
got
just
going
saying before we
around
do
back.
that, should we get the stumps and stuff out first?
Josh has got a guy that for $300 a stump's gonna come grind them, so I told him to go ahead and do it. He had said he had any budget, so he's gonna go ahead
Kevin
and
and them was gonna do it for free.
do it. Who?
Kevin, he's a city's stump grinder.
We were gonna do that, and the city's stump grinder won't.
They told me, I talked to them last week. They said, go for it.
I was told that the city's stump grinder would not fit our skid steer. And I sent a message to the mayor asking
Yeah.
if we could use their skid steer. I didn't hear anything back, so,
He told me, take it, go do it.
well, if that's.
I mean, I know 300 is cheap.
No, it's
but,
not, when it's 300, 300, 300, that's
And,
six, that's
and another
900.
one over here eventually.
Yeah, we need to get that down.
But I'm just saying, they've offered it to us. And I did talk to Kevin.
Well, I know
He said
he-
the same thing you did. He said he was concerned about the
It wouldn't,
connection.
it wouldn't fit, but I agree, and that's when I went back to the mayor and said, would you allow us to use your skid steer as well to do that, and I never heard anything back, so.
He
So,
did,
and if that's
he
the
gave me,
case-
he gave me that just
If that's the
last.
case, then I'll tell Josh to, or you can tell Josh to
Yeah.
just go back to the city and say, you know,
Yeah, less than a week, he told me that.
Well,
That's
so far,
fine.
we've had those stumps longer than the Russia-Ukraine war, so I would like to get them out of the yard.
so anyway.
Yes, I'd like to get them out too. And
Randy, you got
for what it's worth, I talked to, Tom Springson about it a little bit, and, he, of course, this other tree over there, he told me to get with, Don Stump, and this tree over here, he said needs to come down desperately, wants a yellow thing about
That
it.
was the last one.
And, I talked to Kevin about that too. He was looking possibly maybe he could take it down. Now, I do have some concerns, like when we was talking about pigeon roost, the tree gets hollow, the dangers of it, so if it gets to the point where it's too dangerous, I wouldn't want our local guys to go up there and get hurt, have some professional do it. But, you know, there's some issues. I talked to, I think I know who you're talking about on the stumps out there. And, we would have to also get them out and probably put new dirt in, all that kind of stuff around it, reseed it and all that kind of stuff. But I think our guys could do that. I think Josh could do that. I'm not brilliant on that, but I think that could be done without any major expense.
Actually, what the thought was that if we do the concrete sidewalks, there's gonna be enough dirt taken out of there that you can fill the holes where the tree
Yeah.
stumps were. So you're not dragging
We're
it out.
going, the sidewalks are gonna be 6 feet wide, and then it's gonna be 12 inches deep, is how much dirt, so that's a lot of dirt when you start, it's 3,000 some
Yeah.
feet long.
But anyway, I think we gotta take care of the inside of the courtyard before we do that, I think, so we don't end up causing more damage, running stuff in and out of there, maybe not, I don't know.
Well, there's gonna have to be a spot somewhere around the courtyard that you can drive a truck over the curb and across the sidewalk and not crack the concrete, cause
Yeah.
there's just always gonna have to be an entrance into it. I mean,
Hopefully, if we get these trees from out there at Robin's Nursery, and you can check this out too, but Tom told me that we ought to do it in the fall rather than, I'm not sure why.
It's easier on the
Yeah,
plant.
yeah. Fully
All right.
concrete.
I'll entertain a motion to.
I'll check
adjourn.
again. I'll check again on it to be sure I'm right on
Yeah,
that, but I
do.
know I'm just lasting a week.
Yeah, do that, and you can get with Josh and tell him to go get it if that's the case.
I will.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
But I just wanna duly note that it's 5 minutes till 7, and John had the last word.
Hey,
John?
Yeah.
Since you're gonna talk to Josh on that, we
Yeah.
ask him to